Good morning. Good morning. We are live with a quick leadership development. I believe that this is something that's very, very necessary and needed in our day and time. And I want to be able to go with you live as we have a conversation regarding all things leadership. I believe that we're in a day and a time where leadership is critical. Leadership is critical not just to who we are and what we do. Leadership is critical to the environment, the society. Everything begins with leadership. Everything begins with leadership. I think that's one thing that's so critical. I was asked a question a few years ago. Whether you are born a leader's born or a leader's made. And I think that's a question every one of us has to face. But the reality of it is, no one is born a leader. Everybody has to be made and shaped, but everyone is born with the potential for leadership. Everybody is born. I have a son. My son is a toddler right now, and although he does have leadership qualities that has been trained and modeled for him, he still has to be taught. And so, principle number one: leadership must be taught. Nobody just wakes up in the morning and goes, was I am a leader. That's not possible. And so leadership must be taught. And if leadership is must be taught, then that would answer the question that people can be leaders and rather are not born leaders. And so everything begins with leadership. Everything rises or falls under the foundation of its leadership. Leadership is foundational. I believe that in today's day, many times we kind of get into this motion of belief that, especially the way our society is structured. If you go into any company, any business of some sort, then you have people who are leaders. They call leader our leadership team, quote unquote. Right? We have a leadership team, and then it seems like when there's a leadership team, everybody above or under, rather, that leadership team is just regular people. But real leadership does not create followers. Real leadership creates leaders. You know, it's interesting when you study the life of Jesus that Jesus never came to create followers. As a matter of fact, he came to create leaders. And the Great Commission that anybody in the Christian sect would read and study, he told the very people he came to lead, he told them, now you go out and make disciples. That Christ would come and model a life for us that literally shows an exemplary art of true leadership. That he did not just come to get people to simply follow him, but he came to create leaders. Are you a leader? This is a morning leadership development for you. Are you a leader? Everything rises and falls under the foundation of leadership. And so there's an interesting book that I read on servant leadership, and it gave 5 practices for exemplary leadership. 5 practices for exemplary leadership. And I want to share those 5 practices with you today. I think they're really, really interesting. I think they're really good. And they've helped me in my own life. I have a master's in strategic leadership, and I've been fortunate to lead various organizations, one of them primarily being the Faith Field Ministry. And I've been able to lead it from 3 people to 100 plus people to a app that now serves over 1,500 people. I've been able to lead different organizations in the college campuses and nonprofit and for-profit sectors. And so leadership is something I'm very passionate about. And in this book, one of the key things that stood out to me in the 5 exemplary practices of leadership, number one says model the way. Model the way. Listen, leaders cannot call themselves leaders based on their words. Leadership is seen through the lens of your action. Leadership is more than words, it's action. And so the first practice of exemplary leadership is model the way. People will never do what you say if they never see you do what you want them to do. People will never do what you say if they never see you do what you need them to do. Leadership requires modeling the way. If you don't become what you hope others to be, then they can never be that. It's interesting that God would come and Christ came. He became like man to show us how men ought to live. And then he told us, go live that same life. That God would model the way for us. How much more we, when it comes to our organizations and our business, do you model what you want others to see in you? Maybe you're a CEO and you want everybody to come early on time. Do you come early on time? Maybe you're a boss in a company or you're a manager and you want people to turn things in on time or you want people to do XYZ. That very thing that you're requiring, do you do what you require of others? Leadership practice number one, model the way. You have to model the way. People would only do what you do, they will not do what you say. Model the way. Even this applies to parenting. A lot of times, even as parents, we try to tell our kids, you do this, you do that, do this, do X, do Y, do Z. And if you are not living that very thing that you're telling your kids to do, they will only do what they watch you do. Same thing applies to leadership. No matter what sector you're in, people do what they see their leader do. And so the question number one in our leadership development is, are you a leader? And the way we can tell you're a leader is, do you model the way? Number two, leaders don't just model the way, they inspire a shared vision. You see, true leadership inspires vision. Vision is not for the past, vision is not just for the present, vision deals with future. If you're going to be a leader, you have to have a vision that can be grasped by those who follow your leadership. People need to know where they're going. Vision is like a GPS, right? When you put that address into the GPS, people know, okay, this is our destination, and they're willing to follow the GPS because they've put a destination inside the GPS. And now, when the GPS says turn left, turn right, go forward, stop, whatever the GPS says, the person listening to the GPS is more liable to listen because there's already an implanted destination there. So people can never follow your direction. They cannot follow your lead if they don't know where they're going. True leadership must inspire a shared vision. Do the people following you, do they know where they're going? You need a vision. A vision is not just for you. It's bigger than you. What are you willing to do for the community? What are you willing to do for the organization? What are you willing to do for them? It's interesting that if you study the life of Jesus over and over, he casted out vision. I came so you can have life and have it more abundantly. The Son of Man did not come to seek those who are healed, but those who are sick. He constantly casted vision. And so it's easy to follow a leader who constantly stated where he or she was going. As a leader, practices of exemplary leadership. Number one, model the way. Number two, inspire a shared vision. Number three, challenge the process. Listen, you cannot be an effective leader if you are unwilling to change. If you study leadership through the lens of Jesus Christ, he challenged the process of his days. He challenged what was norm for them. Leaders are not normal. Leaders don't just do what everybody wants them to do. Leaders don't just go where everybody wants them to go. Leaders are abnormal when it comes to following a cultural push. They go against the grain. They think differently. They act differently. Everything about them is different. And so the question has to be, are you challenging the process? Do the people who are following your leadership, can they say of a truth that I feel challenged? I feel pushed. Can they say, our leader, my leader, it's something about him, it's something about her that is different. The way things have been done is not the way they're doing things. They came and they shifted the environment, they shifted the community. They came and they begin to mold a different move, a different way. They became trailblazers. Can you challenge the process? Leadership is not just copying, leadership requires innovation. Number four, true leaders enable others to act. True leadership. Listen, true leadership. If you study the life of Jesus, one of the keys that he did as a leader, the Bible says he went to go find and get disciples. And he got disciples. And unlike us in today's day and time that believe that it takes 20 years of experience to be able to do anything when it comes to leadership, Jesus actually debunks that myth. And within 3 years of doing ministry with random total strangers, because he had spent time with them, he had modeled the way for them, he has challenged the process, he had inspired a shared vision. And all that was left was to encourage them to act. The book of Luke says he sent them out two by two. Isn't that interesting? How many of us in a business model would ever franchise an employee that we've only known for less than 3 years? But he was able to send them out to become like him, to go model his business, to go model his vision. He was able to send them out to become extensions of him. In other words, him enabling them to act is what spread the gospel today. Do you enable others to act? If you are the sole decision maker in your company will fail. If you are the sole decision maker in your church will fail. Anything that you are the sole decision maker in, that thing will fail. You got to enable others to act. You have to give people the ability to feel empowered to want to act. They have to feel like they belong because they do. They have to feel like their voice matter because it does. They have to feel like their act actually makes a difference because it does. And if people cannot make decisions, they will leave. Last but not least, the 5 practices of exemplary leadership. Number 1, model the way. Number 2, inspire the shared vision. Number 3, challenge the process. Number 4, encourage others to act. And number 5, encourage the hearts. People are not robots. People are not things. People are not machines. They get weary sometimes. They get tired sometimes. They get exhausted sometimes. Life gets hard sometimes. And one of the keys of leading effectively, even Christ in his leadership, few times he would look at his disciples and say, let us go to a place. Let's find a place to rest. True leadership has to encourage the heart. You cannot be a leader that is so task focused and not people focused, especially when you're dealing with people. The only thing we can be super task focused on is on machine. I expect my MacBook to do what it needs to do. But even with machines, if they don't rest, they fail. How much more humans? Every great leader must have an empathetic motion to them. You have to be able to encourage the heart of the people you're leading. Number 1, you have to see them too. You have to recognize their needs. Never ask people to do for you what you are unwilling to do for them. Do you know their personal struggles? Do you know their needs? Do you know what it is they're dealing with? People don't do what you say, they do what you do. And people will never do what you do until they know that you care for them. Do you care? So, 5 practices of exemplary leadership. Number 1, model the way. Number two, inspire a shared vision. Number three, challenge the process. Number four, enable others to act. And number five, encourage the heart. This has been Leadership Development 101. I hope that it blesses you. I hope that it helps you. And I pray